I want to bring in our panel. Rich Benjamin is a political analyst and the author of the book Whytopia. Brian Darling, former senior aide to Senator Rand Paul. Thank you both. This, Rich, is something that comes up and sometimes we just rush off and we move on. And it's pretty fascinating, even though it's a month later, to see the Congress on a bipartisan basis look at what Donald Trump argued about both sides, about the monuments, about George Washington, and say, no, Mr. President, you must sign this, and it condemns one side because there was one type of hate at the white supremacist rally, and number two, we're calling it terrorism.
Well, Ari, two things. Let's address the white supremacy first. It's horrifying that Congress has to pass a resolution condemning white supremacy. I thought we settled that battle, with the Civil Rights Act, but Congress having to declare it. But the second interesting part that you mentioned is the fact of terrorism, and it's not just legal semantics, because if you've passed a resolution, the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to ferret out, research, and prosecute these types of terrorism that has been swept under the rug as far as the Trump administration is concerned? When we think that some of the best journalists, some in ProPublica and other outlets, are investigating the extent to which white nationalists and extremist groups might be infiltrating small police departments in small towns, then what? So the terrorism part is new. The fact that we have to condemn white supremacy in 2017, that's horrifying.
Brian, your old boss backed this and spoke out. What does it say that Donald Trump effectively had to be dragged here by a unanimous resolution?
Well, it is extraordinary that Congress felt the need to do this, that Congress is sending this to the president's desk for a signature. I think it does show that the president could have used much better language when he was condemning what happened. I mean, obviously, he condemned white supremacy, he condemned Nazis, he did that, but it was only one of 3 statements, and the other 2 statements got him in quite a bit of trouble. But I think ultimately this is something that's good. I think it's great that Congress is going on record. The president's going to sign it. And hopefully we can move forward and maybe unify the country and not have all the divisions we've had. We should not be defined by the extremes, the extreme left or the extreme right. I don't think white supremacists are prevalent in the Republican Party, and I would hope that people don't conflate white supremacy and Nazism with the Republican Party.
But don't you think Donald Trump really hurt that cause, as you just put it, when he started saying there were good people at a white supremacist rally? I mean, we've shown on this show the posters which had the Nazi insignia on there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anybody who showed up at that rally to protest the tearing down of the Robert E. Lee statue and then all of a sudden saw Nazi flags and people that were talking in very extremist language probably should have left. So I don't think that was the right language for the president to use. But ultimately, I think that many in the left have overreached. I mean, they've accused the president of being a racist. They've accused him of being surrounded by white supremacists. I don't think that's true at all.
Rich,
I don't think that the 60 million Americans that voted for Donald Trump are racist.
Let me give Rich a final response because we're going back and forth.
Well, I'm fascinated to know, had Steve Bannon stayed in the White House, whether this would have gone down differently.
A different way.
Yeah, a different way. But the fact remains, what are we going to do with domestic terrorism? What are we going to do with white extremism? He can sign all the resolutions he wants. The proof is going to be in the pudding in how his Justice Department conducts himself.
Rich Benjamin, Brian Darling, thank you both for a discussion on a topic we wanted to return to. Now, coming up,